So, continuing and learning how to make a Wordle game. Today we're going to be learning how to use variables. So after learning how to print text on the screen, here's an example. We now need to find a way to how to store what a user enters when they're guessing words or letters. So learning how to use variables is the next step. In JavaScript, there are many different kinds of variables. Each stores a different type of information. So for storing numbers, there's float, int, which stands for integer, double. Those are the primary variables used for storing numbers. The most common one for storing text is string. So for most of these, they turn red, which indicates it's a keyword, and after the name of the type of variable you're declaring, you can name it whatever you want. So for this purpose, we're going to learn how to use int, and int can only hold an integer, so it can't hold a decimal. So for example, you can name this int number, semicolon. Then number is just an empty variable and it's not storing any information yet. So you can assign it something by saying number equals, and then you can put any integer in there. So for instance, 5, and another semicolon. Then you can output this in the output window over here. To do that, you use system.out.print. And here, in order to print what a variable is holding, instead of using quotations, you can just type the name of the variable, so number. And after compiling that, it displays what was being held by the variable. So in this case, it was 5. Another thing you can do with numbers in particular is you can use the variable name, which is holding different numbers, and you can use that to do math with them. So if I make another variable, there's two ways of doing this. I can make another one on another line and call it number 2. That works. Or instead of ending this line, I can put a comma, a space, and then I can declare a new variable and then end the line. So I can have everything on one line instead of separate lines, which kind of just makes it a bit more organized in one place. Now here I can say number 2 equals something else, like 10. And then here I can make a third one and call it sum. And then I can say sum equals number plus number 2. And there was a semicolon. And then instead of displaying just one number, I can say display the sum. And then when I run this, I should get 15. Like that. So if I try to put something in a variable that's declared as an integer, for instance in number, if I try to put something that's a decimal value like 6.5, I'll get an error because an integer variable can't hold a decimal value. So set that back to 5, and you can declare a new variable and call it a double, which holds decimals, and you can say decimal. Then here you can see decimal equals 5 point something, and you won't get an error because doubles are meant for holding decimals. And then here, just change that to a print line, so it shows up on a different line. And here you can see this one will be num. And then here you can just type decimal. And then here it outputs that value. So next we can learn how to use text in variables. So for that you want to use string, and then we can call it anything, so word. So this would be what the word would be in the Wordle. Then you can say it equals, and then in quotations what it's holding. So like hello. Then here you can output that. With the name of the variable. Then if you compile that and run that, you see it outputted right there. So that's the basics on how to use different types of variables, especially with numbers. and how to display them in the output window.